I'm a really big fan of Warframe. I'm still learning it, I'm still new to it, but I'm enjoying it an awful lot. And when I saw that there was RimWorld mods called Warframe and introducing a bunch of different Warframes into RimWorld, I was super interested and just had to check it out. But it's a little too unbound for the modded series, so this gets its own video. The Warframes are quite good. But I have here just a little basic whatever colony type thing with a small testing arena down here at the bottom. So my idea is I'm going to basically just kind of run through what the mod adds currently. It's still, from what I can tell, a bit in work. And there's more stuff being added, and Warframes are added in as separate mods and stuff like that. So this is sort of a rough, quick look type thing of it, but I figured I'd still show it off a little bit. There is Warframe skin, which is a bit odd. I don't think there's anything too special though. And also Warframe meat. I don't know, that's a strange one. But it brings in the Warframe control cell that you use to actually control the Warframes. The Warframe crafter that you use to build the Warframes. Orokin cells is a special Warframe sort of component type thing. And then on the fabrication bench, the ways to make the actual Warframe bits and bobs. When you go to make a Warframe, you have to load the crafter with Orokin cells. You can set a certain target fuel level, so if you don't want to spend all of them, you don't have to. Just set it to like, I don't know, 6 and then fill it at that. You don't need 20. That's 20 is an awful lot. But when you go to make a Warframe, you need the Orokin cell, and then you need the parts. The parts take, depending on what it is, a mix of gold component, plasteel, silver, sometimes uranium, and sometimes advanced components. So I've just kind of got all that stuff spread and sprawled here that you make at the bench. They require crafting skill 8. I think some of them require 10, or is it all 8? Looks like it's all 8. All 8, but yeah, component, advanced component, uranium for like Mesa's inside, and the head requires gold component, plasteel, silver, gold component, plasteel. Okay, all the heads might be the same. The bodies look to be the same, just different values a little bit. But you make the 3 parts, you put in an Orokin cell, you make the Warframe. It takes a little while. It takes, I think, 24 hours. Yeah, 1 day. 1 day-ish. You can see the rundown of the abilities here that they've got, but I've got a little bit of Warframe footage that I went ahead and made up too, so you can also see what it's actually like compared to how it is in RimWorld. Though do forgive the terrible play of Warframe. Again, I'm not very good and I'm still learning. Well, let's enter the control cell with Solak here. Solak has the Son of the Void trait, which I actually added onto him because I cheated. But typically, you'd find somebody who's got the trait Son of the Void, and that gives them the ability to control the Warframe. So even though it takes a little while to make the Warframe, and it's difficult getting Orokin cells, which you, as far as I know, have to buy from a specific trader type, just the exotic trader I think would have it. Even if you get the Orokin cells, and you get the parts to make up, and you make the Warframe, which all takes time, and a lot of materials, you still got to find somebody who can actually control the Warframe. But when you do, it's worth it. So we'll enter the control cell. Select the War cell. Select the Warframe with the control cell. And let's start off with Excalibur. And then you can control Excalibur just like a normal pawn. Nothing too fancy there. I like the Warframe hat. This is a cowboy hat skin. There's a lot of placeholder stuff. Like you saw that the this is just a cryopod. This is just a biofuel refinery, but it's fine. It's whatever. I'm not judging. So when you're drafted, you can jump around with a Warframe, which is basically just a teleport with no cooldown. Or with a very slight cooldown. Which, if you ever played Warframe, you sort of know with the bullet jumping, you can get around pretty quickly. So we'll just go ahead and jump into our little arena and we'll spawn a bunch of stuff. But the attacks. Excalibur has a slash dash. You dash between enemies while slashing with the Exalted Blade. The Exalted Blade is, well, typically in Warframe, you typically just have the melee weapon. But Excalibur special that he gets his own special melee weapon. And the Exalted Blade is his Heatwave. That's lame. Oh well. Basically in Warframe, this is just like a charge and slash type thing. It's fairly effective to close in, but it's a really basic attack that you can spam. In fact, the first ability for Warframes is typically something that you can spam. It's usually cheap. It's usually single target, and is typically just good at taking out just like a really small annoying dude off in the distance or something. The second ability is a Radial Blind. Emits a bright flash of light, blinding all enemies in a small radius for several seconds. Really just a crowd control type thing. Most number 2 abilities are like this. Typically, it's some AoE type thing that you do to overheat weapons or disable a group of enemies, just to buy you a little bit of time to get out of there, or line up a couple headshots, or just, you know, organize a little bit. The third ability, being Radial Javelin, launches javelins towards enemies, dealing high damage and impelling them to walls. Number 3 is a bit of a, for Warframes, typically, it can be a little bit of anything, depending on what the Warframe is. There's no specific, I think, category the third ability is, per se. But in Excalibur's case, yeah, it's just a big AoE, does a bunch of damage and pins dudes to walls. Pretty fun. And number 4. Number 4s are almost always like a really giant AoE bomb type thing that just kills everybody on screen and around you. It's incredibly expensive to do, but it's a really good oh shit type ability. For Excalibur, he pulls out his really cool fancy Exalted Blade sword thing, which is fairly powerful and has unique stance and unique melee attacks for it, though I don't know how to use it. I'm pretty terrible with it, but it lasts as long as you've got power. The power slowly drains while you have it active, and it turns you into a bit of a beast. So I've spawned in a bunch of tribesmen here. They're all just melee, all basic. This is just mostly for showing off. And we will move in with Excalibur here. Get ready for the dash. And let's go for, I don't know, this guy. Immediately does damage, minus 30, and he charges forward. It's a bit different in RimWorld than the game, the way it does it, but that's okay. It's a neat little dash type thing that you can do, so I could like jump out and dash in, jump out, dash in, that sort of deal, I guess, if you want. Running a little low on SP. Should also know this is only a level 1 Warframe, so the abilities aren't quite as powerful as they could be, and I don't have as much SP as I could, so let's actually level up completely and give me max SP here. So there we go. Better. So now if we dash, it only costs 12 SP. Let's jump out of here, jump out of here, and dash. 42 damage. And because RimWorld is the way it is, it all applies to just like the leg, which is fair enough, I guess. Ugh. WF armor, but it should be impossible to hit it. Well, they did. We're a little bit surrounded, so let's go ahead and go for that radial blind. Stunned everybody. And it should stun them for a decent little while. Yeah. Gives us enough time for the charge shield to recharge, and we'll go for the radial javelin now, which is just our AoE bomb. There you go, that one's got a little bit of charge of 168 damage it did to people, though. That did some good work. And let's go for, let's refill our SP again. And go for the Exalted Blade. Pull that out, and we have a cool, fancy sword that spawns now. The Exalted Blade, normal quality. 100% accuracy. It's got range to it. You'll see that in a second. 45 damage. 68 armor penetration. 50 range. 0.5 stopping power, though. Melee damage per second, 50.92. 45% penetration on the melee. That's potent. But go ahead and do your thing. This is by default what you do with the Exalted Blade. Just turns it into a cool ranged weapon. You can shoot the shit out. It's really nice. That's so much damage. Let's run up and go for a melee. Dash in proper. Oh god, I just straight up killed him. Okay, never mind. Let's just jump in then. Jump in, melee attack. Pretty quick melee. I mean, that's impressive. Well, that's Excalibur. A bit of a melee fighter, but he does get a little bit of range with the Exalted Blade if you do that right, but he's a pretty good guy to just like jump in, do blinds and stuff, get out. I don't know, he's not really for me, okay? I don't know. Secondly, we have Mag, the second Warframe you can start with. Excalibur being the first, you can also start with Volt. You can choose at the beginning which one you want. Personally, Excalibur I think would be a pretty good starting one, or Volt is actually pretty nice because Volt's got some utility later on in the game. Mag, that's the one I started off with. Wasn't really a fan. It's tricky because, like, I wasn't sure how the abilities in Warframe worked per se. Like, pull, I'd use it, and sometimes nothing would happen, other times it would happen, and I just didn't understand power, range, and radius and all that kind of stuff because there's really no indicator for it. You have to know. But Mag's first ability is pull. It just pulls enemies towards you. It is AoE. It's got fairly decent range. And it just pulls people out of cover and can do enough damage to kill people or bring them in close, and you can, if your timing is good enough, do a melee finisher on them, which is quite nice. Really good for the bigger, more annoying targets. Second ability, Magnetize. You magnetize a field around the target. If you shoot the magnetized field, the bullet doesn't really, like, penetrate per se. It just gets absorbed and can whiz around inside. And I think the idea is you can just shoot it a bunch of the bullets whiz around inside, and then you can pull people into it, and they get stuck in, and then they just become this massive ball of death and doom type thing. But I found it more just to be annoying because nobody can shoot through it. So any area where it would have been cool to put down and magnetize, like down a hallway or something, really just turns into an annoyance because nobody can shoot through it. And the enemies are typically smart enough not to just run in, so I'm not really sure. Polarize has a really big AoE that completely shreds armor of people around you, and it's super effective against some dudes because pretty much all they are is armor, so this just leaves them with just a little bit of health. It makes them super easy to take down. You can supposedly use it with Magnetize, but I've never really figured out exactly how or what it means by that. If you Magnetize first, then Polarize, and like all their armor becomes part of the magnetized bubble, doing more damage. Anytime I try to test though, they end up dying right away. So I don't know. I was never able to really learn that one. And the number 4 ability is just a big giant AoE bomb. Lifts everybody up, magnetizes their bones, and they just crumple and die. It's super effective, but very expensive. And in RimWorld, we got a bunch of dudes with guns this time around because why not? Let's go for pull. There we go. It was enough to just instantly kill them. You destroyed the liver somehow. Okay. Sure. Can we get an AoE? Sure, if they're grouped up enough, you can. Yeah, it works in AoE. Just a really short radius. Also stuns them for a little bit, give you a moment. Next up, let's go for Magnetize. Let's magnetize this incendiary launcher asshole. Yeah, that works as you'd expect. Big AoE bubble. Nobody can shoot through it. All their bullets just get sucked into it and it ends up hurting this guy. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. The number 3 ability, Polarize, blasts away armor. This guy's got a flak vest on. See what that does. There's the big AoE field. 30 damage to this one. His armor's in okay shape, but they end up just taking a bit of damage, it seems. It seems they just take a bit of damage. That's not as effective. Big radius, though. Yeah, 30 damage, 30 damage. I'm not sure what the 30 damage went to, though. I guess the gear, but it should do a lot more damage then, because that's not very much at all. 200 health on that. I'm not sure what that 30 damage is applied to. Not sure. Log. Mag in the head caused him to crumble in exhaustion. Okay. Well, let's finish it off with a crush. 27, 27. Ticked a few times on this guy. Ended up doing 90 in the end. It's one of those abilities that it hurts them a little bit over time as their bones magnetize and crumble together, and then a really big, massive damage at the very end to finish them off. 27, 27, 90. Yeah. That's Mag. I started with him in Warframe, wasn't very happy with it. Next up, we have Volt. His first ability is just a shocking projectile he launches out, does high damage and stun to a single target, and can chain. Second ability is Speed. It's just a big speed boost. It increases reload speed and movement speed a lot, and also melee speed a bunch. I like it for the melee speed. This is handy to have later on. Big fan of it. The third ability is Electric Shield that you put up. It blocks bullets completely, and you can pick it up and carry it around with you. It's a really effective ability, even in the late game. It's always useful to have, and that's why I say probably start with Volt, and when you play Warframe, if you play Warframe, if you plan to play Warframe, try Volt first, because it's a Warframe that's useful late in the game also, as well as early. Although Excalibur, I suppose, sort of is too, but less useful to me. And fourth ability, Discharge. Paralyze nearby hostiles with a damaging electric charge, also shocks approaching enemies, just a big constant AoE around you. You can start to see the trend that these abilities are in Warframe, and that's just sort of how it is. There are more Warframes that have more unique and different abilities and playstyles, but currently in this mod, it doesn't really have them. These are the three basic ones. These are a pretty good, interesting bunch there, though. I'm excited for Valkyr. Oh my god. Can't wait. So, let's go for this. I forgot to level and stuff. There we go. So, Shock. Shocking. Fucking hell. Immediate damage 32 to everybody. Left big toe. It got mag-offed. And there's a stun that it does also. Should be noted, I can have the Warframes equipped with weapons and stuff. I chose not to. Just side note. Let's go with assault rifle maybe. Jump over, equip that. There we go. Shield's going down, but that's fine. Let's go for the speed boost. Our speed is now 9.94 tiles per second. Oh, look at that. Shot speed's increased. And we're going down. Let's go with Electric Shield. Right in front of us. Ugh. Got that up just in time. Shit, I'm gonna die. And quickly go for the big AoE. There we go. Another small error. Great. Thanks for that. Yeah, Warframe armor. Let's stop auto-opening. I missed the whole thing. Man. You can see what it does, though. That's nice. This guy's even on fire from the incendiary launcher from earlier. Doesn't do enough to kill him yet, but, well, brought him down. Ash is a Warframe that you don't start with, but you can get later on. He's more of the assassin-y type Warframe. His first ability is a Shuriken. It's just single target, does a lot of damage, and is completely silent, so it's quite nice for navigating a mission silently. Number 2 is a smoke screen, stuns enemies and obscures their vision, rendering Ash invisible for a short period of time. Really good for just getting out of there, and also sort of using objectives and stuff, because you can interact with things while invisible. Pretty nice. Super good for like getting up an ally too. Number 3 is a teleport. You teleport to the target, bring them into melee range, and if you time it right, you can actually do a melee finisher on them too, which is just obscene amounts of melee damage. I'm not very good at that though. And the number 4 ability, project fierce shadow clones of Ash upon groups of distant enemies. You can join in with teleport. This is just you use the number 4, or you hover over people, and it sort of auto targets them, and then when you use the ability again, you send out shadows that just silently take people out one by one. Really nice for really big targets, or just a lot of enemies if you need to get through really quickly and fast and just go. Or if some asshole's using a console and trying to set off the alarm and you don't want them to do that. And you also want to take out a few other people too, and Shuriken is just too lame. Bladestorm's really awesome for that. So this one, I also don't know how this will work, because only some of these I tried out. I kind of wanted to experience it fresh with you guys. Oh, really big range on Shuriken, Jesus. Okay, you throw out a couple. Cut the torso, destroyed the liver. Took him out. What damage is that, though? 60 damage. Whoa. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's good. Let's jump in. Smoke bomb. So I'm invisible. Apparently I bit him. Sorry, Snake, I didn't mean to bite you with my Warframe. Come on, Tunnel, what are you thinking? What are you biting people for? Jeez. Yeah, so he's got a buff on himself for Vanish. Okay. Neat. Let's give you a weapon. Give you a longsword. A masterwork golden longsword. Yeah, sure. And let's teleport in. Yep, that's a teleport. Okay, yeah, sure. And Blade Storm. How's this gonna work? Oh, okay. You are the Shadow Clones. I see. Well, that's just fucking ridiculous. That's just absolutely insane. Okay, cool. Well, there's that. So I could maybe smokescreen and blade storm and just be bullshit, because I'd be invisible and they wouldn't be able to do anything to me. Ha 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 ha. I guess I sort of forgot the bio for these. The Warframes are all pretty much the same. They can't do work. They kill. That's it. And apparently maybe work with animals. I guess. Sure. Next up we have Mesa, who's a shooty Warframe, so I've given her an assault rifle because otherwise she doesn't work very well. The first ability here is Ballistic Battery. When you activate it once, the power stores damage that you do, and then you use the ability again, and then you do bonus damage on your next shot based on the amount of damage that you had stored. So you use it, and then use like an automatic weapon or an explosive weapon or something, and then you use it again, and you fire off one really big powerful shot, really good for sniper rifles or magnums or something like that. Second ability is Shooting Gallery. It gives a damage buff to people around you. It just sort of cycles through the party. But the coolest thing with it is that it also jams the guns of nearby enemies. It's just an aura that follows you around, and anybody near you, their guns just suddenly jam. If it's a melee dude, they sort of stumble a bit, and if it's like the infested, they sort of get stunned. So it's useful against all types of things. Really good for just like, oh shit, that's a lot of dudes, and you use Shooting Gallery, and they can no longer do anything. It's a nice cheap crowd control because it's only your second ability. The third ability I've never really had much luck with, but it's supposed to give you a cool damage shield that prevents a bit of damage and reflects bullets back to attackers, though the reflected bullets don't ever really seem to do very much damage. I might be doing something wrong with it, I don't really know. And the fourth ability is Peacemaker. She draws out her sort of like cool sidearm guns that are special to her, kind of like Excalibur's sword. Misa's got her sidearm pistols that you can only use with this ability. And you use it and you just turn into an absolute hit scan beast with aimbot and everything. You just kind of hold on the mouse button and look around, and you shoot at increasing rate with absolute loads of ammo and precise accuracy, and you just, oh god, it's disgusting. Against a single target, you shoot faster and faster and faster, and you take out really big scary enemies really quickly, or if there's a big room of dudes, you can just clear them out in seconds. It's fantastic. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this works in RimWorld. So I've got here just 3 archers this time so I don't get my ass completely kicked. But let's go for Ballistic Battery and begin shooting. You can see the damage is being added now. We have a storage type system going on. They're running. Let's go ahead and use Ballistic Battery again and fire. And that triggered like immediately, doing 72 damage that I think just ripped right through the torso and took out the stomach. Yeah, I think so. I think so. Well done, Mesa. You took out 3 archers. A few more of them spawn. Now I'm going to jump in. We'll use Shooting Gallery. And see. Yeah, stuns nearby enemies. Sort of. Doesn't follow you around, though. Well, that's okay. Let's go for Shatter Shield. So we should reflect back bullets. Yep. It's pretty okay. The damage being dealt to them doesn't seem to trigger anything. It doesn't know what the fuck happened, so it doesn't know how to display it. But it apparently does, in fact, do damage, because that arrow actually went through the skull and took out the brain. I don't think that was Mesa's shot. And then we have Peacemakers. So we draw out our Peacemaker. 100% accuracy across the board, damage 5, armor penetration 7.5%, range 50, stopping power is low, fire rate only 450, but as you shoot, it's also per shot too, but as you shoot, you gain a stacking fire rate buff that then goes away when you run out of targets. Oh yes. So let's have some fun with this. We have a lot of tortoises there. Go Mesa. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, does she have a fire rate thing here? Should be here, right? Melee deep shooting accuracy, aiming time 90. So I'm not sure if it actually displays where the buff is, but oh yeah. Okay. Enough of that. Oh yeah, and you can't really move while you're using it. But I can still bullet jump, apparently. Thought it went faster than that, but it definitely goes faster than that in the game. That's so bullshit I can bullet jump while doing this. SP draining, and it's out now. But with that final little bit of SP, we managed to kill the final tortoise. Wow, that's exciting stuff. A little more fun in Warframe, but that's pretty fucking well done for RimWorld. So far, I'm really impressed with how well this is done. I wasn't sure what to expect, really. This is great. And lastly, we have Valkyr, a Warframe that I'm absolutely god-awful with, but is a lot of fun to watch. I love having a Valkyr in the group. First ability is Rip Line. It's pure mobility, basically. If you hit an enemy, they get pulled to you. If you hit an ally, you go to the hook's location, and you can also hook onto like walls and stuff like that too. So it's a good mobility thing. The second ability is War Cry. Bolsters allies' melee speed while slowing down nearby enemies. Really good, just basic buff. The melee speed boost is quite intense, especially when mixed in with Volt. You can get pretty nuts with that. Paralysis, just a big AoE. You unleash your shields, stunning and damaging enemies around you. Just does just that. It damages and stuns people, but you lose your shields. And number 4, the most funnest thing ever. You go into an absolute rampage. The game describes it as a ball of vicious rage. You become completely immune to damage, your SP drains, and you gain special claw weapons that you use that have their own stance, and I'm awful with them, but it's super effective and so fun to watch. Valkyr just goes apeshit, screaming and yelling, ripping things apart. It's like a Krogan on crack. I love it. I'm interested to see how RimWorld handles this. So first off, let's try the hook. Really good radius. Hook to the environment. Can't hook to the environment, so it does actually have to be an ally. But we can bring somebody else to me, so there's that. War Cry bolsters melee speed while slowing down nearby enemies. I'm assuming it also bolsters your own melee speed. So where do we got that at? Melee DPS. I guess maybe cooldown 0.84 seconds. I mean, 30 DPS is still fucking insane. Just straight up killed him. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay. So Warcry movement minus 30, moving plus 30, so it doesn't actually increase your attack speed at all. Okay. But that's a good aura though. You can see the, there's a heat wave again. I had to reload. I had a bit of a console issue that I don't know if that was related to the mod or not. Paralysis, stunning and damaging enemies around us. Looks convenient to use now. Oh yeah. Shields took a bit of damage, but Jesus Christ, the damage that these guys did, or took. Only just bruised a leg somehow. That's a nasty bruise, though. Oh, yeah. And Hysteria, the Ball of Vicious Rage. There's our claws, Valkyr talons, 100% accuracy, 1.0 ranged cool. Why does it have? I don't know. 30 damage per second, 15 armor penetration. So let's grip line him to us. There we go. Well, that takes them out quick. Hello. Oh, yeah. It's already dead. So fast. But in theory, we should be able to spawn a Thrumbo. Let's give myself max SP again. Should be able to, with Hysteria, pop Warcry. Blind him to me, paralysis, and just go absolute batshit insane, but it doesn't actually give me a buff for the attack speed, which is a bit of a shame. Damn. But yeah, that's really well done, though. I am super looking forward to more. It's wow. it's a lot better than I was expecting. Complete bullshit and totally imbalanced for normal RimWorld play, but certainly interesting to look at. Requires HugsLib and the Alien Races mod packs as like prerequisites, and then the original mod is just Excalibur, Mag, and Volt, and there's a second mod for Ash, Mesa, and Valkyr. No idea what's coming next, but holy shit, am I looking forward to it. That is fantastic. Oh, Yoshiko's got you're a brawler, eh? That's a shame.